We've seen an evolution in the U.S. position. The U.S. has been sort of spearheading, taking the lead in providing Ukraine up until now since the invasion with both financial assistance and military assistance. And we've seen a ratcheting up here. What he's basically trying to do here, as this campaign has shifted to a brutal, fierce attacks by the Russian army in Donbass, attacks using weapons, types of artillery that the Ukrainians have not been able to counterattack with. They just don't have. They're outmanned, they're outgunned in this new theater of war, if you will. They have been, as you said, pleading with both Europe and the Americans. No, the Americans are the ones more likely to supply the weapons. Please give us the long range, the heavier weapons that we desperately need if we want to be able to bring the fight to the Russians, as we have successfully repelling them in Kiev and in Kharkiv earlier in this war. What Biden has essentially done is, he's providing long range, they're called high mobility artillery rocket systems, HIMARS in military technology. What they are is they allow the Ukrainians, they would allow them to basically fire missiles, shells that could go as far as 48, 49 miles. That would be able to reach and presumably damage, strike a blow to the Russian artillery trying to fire at them without, and this is key, without being able to strike into Russian territory. As a sort of quid pro quo, a proviso for providing these weapons, the Biden administration wanted to secure a pledge from Zelensky that they would not use these weapons to strike within Russian territory. The reason that's so key, Jeannie, is from the outset of this war, the very delicate tightrope act that the Biden administration has been walking, some people say not so well, is how do you not provoke a broader war with Putin? That is, draw Putin into the war because he sees the U.S. as directly engaging Russia, yet at the same time try to help Ukraine. Biden says the goals are straightforward here: to help ensure that Ukraine is democratic, independent, sovereign, and prosperous, and with the means to deter and defend itself against further aggression. It wants Ukraine to be able to go to the negotiating table when and if negotiations ever happen with Russia in the strongest possible position.
Doug, how has Russia been reacting to the announcement of these new weapons?
Well, first of all, Biden, in his editorial, was very clear. He sent a message directly to Putin saying, we do not want to, this is not about trying to provoke a war between NATO and Russia, NATO and Putin. That is not our goal. And even backpedaling on what some people said was this new U.S. strategic objective to actually militarily, strategically weaken Russia. He was very clear. He spelled it out. He says, we are not here to oust Vladimir Putin. Our main goal is to, yes, inflict enough pain on Russia to make Russia realize that this war of aggression will not pay off. It will be too high of a cost if it continues to attack what it sees as Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. So this is not about getting Putin. This is not about regime change. This is not about ousting the Kremlin leader. This is about helping Ukraine to defend itself. Putin obviously doesn't see it that way. You can argue that almost anything that the U.S. or other countries do, and they've been saying this all along, to provide any form of self-defense for Ukraine against this attack from Russia is going to be seen as a provocation. You have the very, very loud voices on Russian state-controlled media, the sort of mouthpieces of the Kremlin, and also the Kremlin itself basically saying that anything the U.S. does with weapons will produce a very, very harsh reaction from Russia. We've seen Russia time and again rhetorically rattling the nuclear weapons saber, all of that. So no matter what, you could say the U.S. is damned if it does, it's damned if it doesn't. Any amount of aid that the U.S. or anyone else provides to Ukraine will be met with a fierce backlash from Kremlin state-controlled media saying that this is tantamount to the U.S. and the Europeans engaging us directly in war. The line's already been crossed from the view of Russian propaganda. So you can't say, did Biden go too far? Not really. He already, from Russia's view, went too far.
All right, Doug, thanks for that.